following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee. What's up, Mo?
Not much. It's Friday.
It's Friday. It is Friday. Glad to be here, and hope Chris is feeling better. He should be back on Monday, as Mo and I come to you live from the Lee Company studio on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. It is a Friday. We've got some high school basketball you're going to tonight. You're going down to the barn tonight, Mo, in Lowtown.
That's what they call it?
Yep,
barn?
The barn.
The barn.
Going down to the barn. Your first time down there.
It is,
yeah.
And hopefully I'll be able to get a decent seat, because it sounds like that may not necessarily be the case. Yeah.
Oh man. There's a lot of people, they pack them in there like sardines, but it's a great
especially for this one.
Exactly. This unlike any other Summertown, of course, going down there. So certainly a highlight for that today. As we mentioned, Max Herz will be joining us coming up around 3:00 to talk a little Nashville Predators and other Nashville area topics relative to sports. Charles Pulliam will be joining us here in just a little bit, around 2:15, to talk about what's happening. Little Wilco sports, and the Earl, Andrew the Earl Moore, will be back with us, preview the NFL Conference Championship games, Chiefs and the Bengals. Unfortunately, the early game on CBS, and then the late game on Fox out in LA, SoFi, the Rams hosting the 49ers. So we'll get into all of that coming up, but we got a lot to get to, Mo, on this Friday edition.
We do. We've got the opening kick here in a bit, which kind of tells you what our top story leans toward.
Okay.
Yeah. But before we get to that, we need to give you last night's results and the weekend's schedule of sports of local interest here on The Rundown.
Yes, it is the Rundown. The Friday Rundown is brought to you by Chip Walters of Exit Realty, Bob Lamb and Associates. The voice of the Blue Raiders also wants to be your trusted advisor in real estate. Contact Chip at 615-542-1915 or through his website at choosechip.net. Chip Walters, proud to support local youth sports in southern Middle Tennessee.
Thursday night high school boys basketball action. Zion Christian continues its roll with a 60-40 win over Covenant Christian. Collinwood defeated Hampshire 52-40. In girls action, it was Zion Christian with a 49-24 win over Covenant Christian. No result from Collinwood Hampshire. In the NHL, the Edmonton Oilers outlasted the Nashville Predators 3-2 in a shootout. NCAA men's basketball action last night. Jacksonville defeated Lipscomb 64-59 in ASUN play. In Ohio Valley Conference action, it was Belmont 75, Austin Peay 67. College women's basketball action. Number 4 Tennessee goes down to the loveliest village on the plains, and it wasn't so lovely as Auburn shocked the number 4 Lady Ball 71-61. Austin Peay with a 70-68 win over Belmont. It was MTSU 80, Marshall 41. Vanderbilt knocking off unranked and shorthanded Kentucky 65-57, excuse me. In high school basketball action tonight, most of these doubleheaders. Collinwood is at Richland. Columbia Academy travels to Middle Tennessee Christian. Culleoka goes to Wayne County. Santa Fe hosts Hampshire. Lawrence County is at Page. Mount Pleasant goes to Lewis County. Spring Hill is at Tullahoma. As we mentioned, Summertown plays at Loretto. Summit plays at Independence. And in a boys-only matchup at 7 o'clock tonight, Columbia Central goes to Overton. NCAA men's. This is yesterday's. Hang on. In NBA action tonight, the Jazz play at the Grizzlies. That's a 7 o'clock start. On Saturday, Loretto's girls will play in the Darrell Robertson Classic down in Mississippi in a doubleheader starting at 5 o'clock. Nolensville is at Columbia Central. We will have some high school wrestling duels action over the weekend. Some of those times and places are undetermined, but we'll talk more about that later in the show. Junior college basketball action. Roane State is at Columbia State. That's a doubleheader beginning at 2 o'clock with the women at the Webb, followed at 4 by the Roane State and the Charger men. NCAA men's basketball action on Saturday. UT Martin is at Belmont. That's a 2 o'clock start on ESPN+. Also on ESPN Plus at 2. MTSU is at Western Kentucky, 100 miles of hate there. Lipscomb travels to North Florida. That's a 4 o'clock start. Will be shown on ESPN Plus. At 5 on the SEC network, Georgia is at Memorial Gym taking on the Vanderbilt Commodores. At 7 on ESPN, number 18 Tennessee plays at Texas. And at 7:30 on ESPN Plus, it's Austin Peay at Tennessee Tech. Women's action on Saturday. Lipscomb is at North Florida. That's a 1 o'clock start on ESPN Plus. Western Kentucky is at MTSU at 3 on ESPN Plus. At 4 on ESPN Plus, it's UT Martin at Belmont. And at 5:30 on the Plus, it's Austin Peay at Tennessee Tech. NBA action on Saturday has Washington playing at FedEx Forum against the Grizzlies. That's a 7 o'clock start. And on Sunday, Auburn's women play at Vanderbilt. That's a 2 o'clock game on SEC Plus. And that is your weekend rundown.
All right. So there you go. Mo getting through all of that, and we'll get into other stuff here. But first, we got the opening kickoff.
We got the opening
top story.
We got the opening kickoff. Previously recognized by Pro Football Talk, Tennessee Titans coach Mike Vrabel has been named the coach of the year by the Pro Football Writers Association, which is a little bit more prestigious, probably.
Yeah, well deserved.
It really is. I mean, we've been talking about this for the last 2 months or more, and nobody has had to deal with what he had to deal with. And as was pointed out to me when postseason baseball awards were presented, this voting was based on regular season results. So 12-5, the number 1 seed with a record number of active players and a record number of starters in a 17-game season. So, like you said, well-deserved honor for Mike Vrabel, as the Pro Football Writers Association recognizes him as the NFL Coach of the Year, and should be the second of many.
We hope so. And, of course, he'll be coaching in the Pro Bowl, too. How do they make that decision, Mo? Do you know?
I guess it's the highest seeded team that isn't in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And I guess
kind of a dubious honor, right?
It's somewhat. Yeah. I mean, in the baseball all-star game, it's the American League champion and the National League champion, but that's the following year, so they don't have anything as far as a conflict.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Just underway here on Main Street Sports today. Coming up, plenty to get into. The NFL championship, the conference championships coming up this weekend. Also, a little Predators talk coming up later in the second half. But up next, we'll talk with Charles Pulliam from the Williamson Herald, a little Wilco Sports Action. So stay with us here. This is Main Street Sports Today, and it is presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, the Hall of Famer, and yours truly. We'll be back after this.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back into Main Street Sports today. JP Plant filling in for Chris Yao. Hopefully he'll be back on Monday, but fret not, because the Hall of Famer and Sports Writer of the Year, Mo Pat's still here. You're live at the Lee Company studio here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Friday edition, and one of our regulars, Mo, is set to join us and talk a little Wilco sports.
Let's bring him in.
The one and only Charles Pulliam on the line with us. Charles, how are you, sir?
Not bad, guys. Not bad. Yeah, it's been a little while, but man, we've been busy, haven't we?
We have been busy. Charles Pulliam, brought to you by the Williamson Herald. From Brentwood to Nolans, Brentwood to Spring Hill, and Fairview to Nolansville. There we go. The Williamson Herald with Charles Pulliam and Joe Williams have got you covered from a sports sense up there. So be sure and check them out at W8 Sports on Twitter, among other things. Charles, what's the hot ticket tonight?
Well, Joe and I are actually doing, I think, our third radio debut together. We're going to go hang out at the Border Battle and broadcast some Summit and Independence basketball to Twinville there. So that's on our agenda tonight. Working on some notes right now. We always like radio. Both of us have a background in radio, and anytime we get the opportunity to do some games, we do some games. So we're filling in for the WAKN boys, and yeah, going to have a packed house there, I assume.
You know, this. I don't know if Joe considers this a come down after doing the My TV 30 game of the week last week between Franklin and Independence or not, but you guys are just becoming multimedia darlings up there. Stars of TV, radio, print, digital. You've got your Monday night show that you're doing up there now. You guys are busy. When do you sleep?
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's not much actually too. I got my in-laws in town actually for the weekend because it's my wife's birthday. So I was lining up some Saturday potential wrestling too, but I don't think I'll be able to make that because I'll get in trouble big time.
No.
But we just have so much going on. I mean, between on the wrestling side, thinking of Fairview and Page and Summit and Nolensville, all these teams are just we're loaded up hoops wise. It's been a wild couple weeks, kind of catch my breath, and we're just getting into that gauntlet of some postseason stuff, especially in wrestling. So it's only getting busier. Let's put it that way.
Well, at least tomorrow you don't have to worry about Fairview.
No.
Yeah. Apparently Millington, the Region 8A runner-up, has decided not to come.
Okay. We were just talking a little bit about some of these teams and how they might do some of those things, and how we feel about that.
Yeah, Pete Miller at Summit was concerned. I've not gotten a confirmation as to whether they are actually wrestling Bartlett tomorrow or not, but there was some talk that Bartlett, the Region 8 AA runner-up, may not make the trip up for that sectional either. And, you and I kind of chatted back and forth earlier this week about just throwing up the white flag on some of these matches. And I don't know as a coach how you explain that.
Yeah, and I know there's always the competitive side of things, and we're in that dual wrestling thing, so you want to make sure guys stay healthy. But one thing we came to terms with was it's nap time, man. I mean, and it's the time you want to be getting better and peaking right now, and missing out on opportunities to try to get better rather than just rolling around with your teammates. It kind of rubs me the wrong way in some ways too. There, and I mean, I know there's times and there's strategy lined up and so many things when you're actually in the meet, but why not at least have it and get your younger guys involved?
It's an interesting mindset, and we're seeing more and more of it here recently. I don't really understand it. I'm just one of those go out and play and see what happens kind of guys, and so I kind of struggle with that whole deal. But regardless, like you said, Nolensville is going down to Arlington after falling in the Region 7 AA finals to Summit earlier this week. Page has got Watertown in a Class A sectional this weekend. So,
well, and that's Page and Fairview, watching what they've been able to do all season. It's been kind of neat with all the reclassification, some of the shifts in the regions and stuff like that. Seeing where the Page boys have fallen in and having the success they've had this year. Pretty excited for Coach Benji Gray and that crew because they seem very, very ready. And it's just one senior and Will Parcell too. I mean, these guys are locked and loaded for sure.
Interesting that Region 6, your two finalists over there were Page and Tullahoma, both of them coming down from the large school classifications a year ago. And I think that was probably the expectation going into the year that those two would, I don't want to say dominate that region, but would certainly be the two that would emerge there. They are they were both traditionally pretty good, even at that upper level. And so coming down, it's continued.
Yeah, oh, definitely. And then, looking at the championship match just last night for the Page boys against Tullahoma, I think 46-24. That's the first time I think I've seen Page, battle tested in that area for a while with some of the teams they've been facing. But knowing their lineup, looking at them top to bottom, I mean, I really like Grant Hawkinson at 132. I mean, seen a lot of him over the years, just a junior, but a guy who's got state championship ability there, just like Will Parcell, the big senior at 160. I mean, I watched his brother wrestle for so long, and Will's got some of that same tenaciousness. It's just fun to watch. Thomas Brown, a 120 kid. I mean, they got some guys there, and just looking how they were able to beat Tullahoma, I think those guys can go far in the region duels there, just like our Summit potentially and Nolensville. I mean, we're there Tuesday for the Region 6 AA duels, and when you got Brentwood and Franklin and Nolensville and Summit rolling around out there, I think that's 4 of the top 11 teams in the state.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty talented area here. We've been talking to Coach Steve Miller for so long about high school wrestling and what he's been trying to do with that program there, and then looking what they did last year. I mean, wrestling in the county is only getting better and better, and we're getting into that championship contending kind of spots, which is just exciting.
Yeah. Transitioning back to the hardwood, in addition to that Summit Independence game that you and Joe will be broadcasting on WAKM tonight, big doubleheader out in Rutherford as Lawrence County comes to town, particularly on the girls' side. I think top-ranked Page in Class AAA, 20-1 overall. Lawrence County comes in, and they've got some three-point shooting talent that I'd imagine Page has to be on their toes for and out on the three-point line for. So that could be a big matchup there.
Yeah, definitely too. And just seeing what the Page girls have as they've worked their way through here, we watched them, actually, I caught part of that Lawrence County game, I think, first week of January, and that was a 55-46 Page win. This Lawrence County team, in terms of matching up and just spreading the floor out a little bit, they did cause some issues for Page, but, seeing what they were able to do against Lincoln County, against Tullahoma, I mean, some blowout style wins. I mean, these girls are used to just pounding it out, and it's a business-like approach. The entire team from last year returning from that first state tournament appearance for Page at the AAA level last year, and they stayed in that level, and they're finding that success. Their only loss was against the talented Lebanon team, and I think that was in November, and it was only a 5-point game. That's the team they would have faced if they would have advanced up to 4A anyway. And just knowing that they're right there in that game is just something. But these girls, Lily Wilkin, Mackenzie Cochran, Abigail Ward, Braylee Bushman, those four alone would start on just about any team. And they're talented across the board. Everybody can play every position. They don't have as much size as you'd think, but they got some of those power kids inside that just know their roles and can get stuff done. Brooklyn Burrows, one of those girls. But, yeah, 20-1, top ranked. Had Braylee and Ron Brock on our Monday night show about 2 weeks ago, maybe not even that long ago. But we were just kind of talking about, what it's like being the top team. And to be honest, they're like, we don't even talk about it. We're just out here to play. We just want to get back to state. And it's like, well, okay. I watched them at Tullahoma, and it was all business just like that. And, they beat Tullahoma 55-24 on Friday. And, the game wasn't that close. They're defensively, they cover all aspects of the game. It's a lot of fun to see.
Another fun game looming as the Admirals of Franklin host Hillsboro tonight, and that's a Big 12 4A contest there on the boys' side in particular. Again, we saw Franklin and Independence last week. It was the first time that I had seen Franklin this year, and Jack Medalley is a dude.
Yeah, and he's all that 6'6" and then some, and he handles the ball really well, and he can rebound. He's a guy. He's a playmaker out there. And this is unique because they had a makeup game on Monday actually against Hillsboro, and that was a 41-39 Hillsboro win. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Noah McGee is the starting guard there for Franklin was out that game, because I know he was out against Overton on Tuesday, but he had a bout with food poisoning actually. But you go back to the Independence game, very emotional, fun, all-county clash there, 51-49 Indy win. On Monday, they come back, they lose another tough one and fall to, I think, 17-6 then, but then they bounce back with rolling over Overton there. I think 81-50 was that score. But these boys, super talented. That game actually was the one that, if I wasn't doing the radio, I think I'd go to check that one out just because of how tight that Monday matchup is and how rare it is to have two high school teams go head-to-head in the same week. So you got a Monday-Friday matchup against Hillsboro. And the girls' game was actually really solid, too. The Franklin girls just couldn't hit a bucket in that one. But that should be two great games at Franklin. Tip-off there at 6 o'clock for the girls, 7:30 for the boys. Franklin boys at 18-6, pretty talented team there. But yeah, going back to last week, seeing what Indy's been able to do, I'm excited to see Jet Montgomery and Coach Mark Wilkins and all those kids one more time tonight, because they've been turning some heads.
Should be a lot of fun. Another one that I guess looks like it should be interesting. BGA goes to University School of Nashville, but BGA has struggled a little bit, I guess, following their coaching change to some degree. 4-14 going into that matchup with USN at 13-7, and it's shocking to me that USN's boys are 13-7, because I saw them against Columbia Academy down here about a week and a half ago, and they have actually swept CA, which is ranked 5th in the state in D2A. So interesting.
Yeah, you think about those matchups overall. I think some of those early losses for USN was actually early on. I know they played Pope Prep. They went to Knoxville Webb, I think. I think they started just 1-3 or so, but then they started picking people off, and one of those games that really stood out to me was the mid-December for USM. They played at PTA, and I think they only lost by 8, and they held PTA to 57 points. And, it's a team that goes out there and averages a ton. But for the BGA boys, they've been close a lot of times. And most recently was actually this week on Monday against Providence Christian Academy. They had an opportunity to win that one, fell 58-56. On Tuesday, they host Nashville Central Christian. They fall 67-65. They've been in some of these tight games. Just last week, they lost to GCA 67-59. I mean, some solid outings there. They just haven't been able to put it all together just yet. And now they have to face that challenge against a really talented USN team that, when you say the 7 losses, I'm like, well, I know they haven't lost much recently, have they?
Exactly.
So, kind of pull up some notes and take a peek at that. But, some tough matchups there across the board for that BGA team. Like I said, there's a coaching change. It all centers around Sean Williams, though. He's the leading scorer. I think he's right there on the rebound in offensively, too. He leads them in assists, steals. They go where he goes. He gets about 17 a game, maybe about 4 assists, 3 steals or so. Really talented guard for sure.
Charles Pulliam of the Williamson Herald. He and Joe Williams will be on the call on WAKM tonight for the Border Battle Summit at Independence. He and Joe both with the Williamson Herald have you covered on all things Williamson County sports. Be sure and check them out. Charles, appreciate your time with us this afternoon.
Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you out there soon.
No doubt.
All right, there you go. Yeah, must listen to radio. Joe and Charles get together. Go check that out. We appreciate Charles and all the work they do. All right, stay with us here. Coming up, we'll have a little wrestling. That's spelled WRE.
STLI.
Yes,
as opposed to.
But so we'll talk about that. The latest episode of the First Takedown coming out as well, already out today. So all of that straight ahead. This is Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mo and I will be back after this time out.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
All right, welcome back. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, live to the Lee Company studio. JP Plant, that guy over there is a Hall of Famer and Sports Writer of the Year, by the way. Hey, That's the NMSA, NSMA,
National Sports,
Sports
Media Association.
That's out of Hickory, North Carolina, right? In that group,
Winston-Salem.
Winston-Salem.
Mhm.
Don't they normally have a festivity every year about this? Are we in COVID? So it's in June. Are you going to get to go? Are you invited to that? How's that work?
I am invited.
Are you going to get to go?
I'm planning to go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Yeah. They will have all of the
winners in each state.
The sports writers and the sportscasters from each state, the national sports writers and sportscasters, Hall of Fame inductees, everybody will be there. So, I'm told that it's a great event. I feel like it'll be great for networking because I'm hoping to come back with the Rolodex further beefed up.
Are we going to have to get you a new Rolodex to fit all these new names you're about to get?
Maybe.
Yeah. It's a good thing we got the cloud going for you. It's in your phone, right?
It's all about the contacts,
right,
man.
That's going to be fun.
Hopefully we can come up with some folks that we can actually get on our airwaves.
That thing is in the middle of the week, right?
It's a Saturday, Sunday, Monday,
okay.
I believe.
Is the event on Monday then?
I believe so.
Okay. So maybe that Monday might fit. You do the show from there.
Maybe so.
Yeah. Might have a ooh. Hey, this
look,
be fun.
Look at you. Look at you.
Hey,
yeah.
I'm excited about this.
Always be planning.
Always be planning.
ABP. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Oh, man. All right. Don't forget, coming up, we do have Andrew, the Earl Moore, talk a little NFL and the NFC, AFC championships coming up this weekend. A little Titans conversation as well. That's coming up at around 2:48. And then around 3, Max Hertz, Nashville area broadcaster, will be joining us. He covers all kinds of things, including the Preds. So he's tapped into that. We'll talk a little hockey talk with Max coming up. But don't forget, every Friday comes out a little shy of 1:00. It's the First Takedown podcast, Mo. Let people know exactly what this is about if they're just first hearing about this.
The First Takedown is a weekly podcast focusing on high school wrestling.
RWRE.
STLING, not wrestling.
That's right.
There's no top ropes, no turnbuckles, no folding chairs, none of that.
At least not intentionally.
Yeah,
it's not scheduled.
That's probably a good disclaimer there. Not intentionally.
Not intentionally. Yes.
Yeah. So, and today's subject was Mark Reeves, who is the Assistant Executive Director of the TSSAA in charge of wrestling. And as of this year, he's also a wrestling dad.
Yeah, that was an interesting conversation you had with him when you got into that part because his son wrestles for Springfield.
Which is where he wrestled as well.
Yeah, so that's a really cool story. And to be able to kind of delineate, put all that aside, still being over the wrestling championships for TSSAA, but he still gets the joy of just being a dad. And you know that all too well.
Yeah, it's definitely different when the person out there on the mat has blood ties to you.
Yep.
But it's a big weekend, as we mentioned with Charles in the last segment. Dual sectionals are this weekend, in addition to the ones that we mentioned with Bartlett and Summit, maybe, and Nolensville and Harlington in Class AA. You've also got, it looks like there are a couple of sectionals that have already been wrestled. Science Hill and Maryville over in East Tennessee and Anderson County, and Kingsport Dobbins Bennett seems they wrestled last night. Maryville won there, so they have claimed a spot in the 8-team Class AA duels that will be held next Saturday out at the Ag Expo up in Franklin. No result yet on Anderson County and Kingsport Dobbins Bennett. I think they're done, but we just don't have a result.
Information,
yeah. And then in Class A, Hickson and Pigeon Forge are set for a sectional. Stone Memorial and Signal Mountain will wrestle one. And for some of the others, let's hear it from our conversation on the first takedown with Mark Reeves.
So each individual region in Class A and Class AA will have their region championships. And the top 4 from each one of those regions would then advance to the sectional tournament. And the sectional tournament then would be comprised of the top 4 from the corresponding regions in the same way that the dual meet tournament is. In other words, Region 1 and Region 2 are paired together with the top 4 from each. Come to form those 8-man brackets at the sectional event. The top 4 from those sectional tournaments would then advance to the state championships in Class A and Class AA. On the girls' side, we only have 4 regions. We've gone from 2 regions to 4. So there's no need to have that sectional round for the girls. We can just take the top 4 from each of the region tournaments to create those 16-person brackets on the girls' side.
Now, that was a breakdown for the individual state wrestling tournaments, which for Division 1 will be held February 24th through 26th up at the Ag Expo, following the Division 2 individual tournament, which will be a one-day affair on February 17th at MBA. Other dual sectional matchups that will take place this weekend in Class AA include Rossview at Wilson Central, Cookville at Clarksville, Bradley Central will travel to Blackman, and Oakland will go to Cleveland. And in Class A, as Charles and I mentioned, Watertown comes to Page, Tullahoma goes to Green Hill, Sycamore is set to travel out to Munford over in not Shelby County, but over in West Tennessee. And Millington has opted not to come up for its sectional against Fairview. So those are 4 of the 6 pairings for Class A sectionals, and that's the entire Class AA sectional field. But if you want to hear more about upcoming postseason action and about some of Mark Reeves's background prior to getting to the state office out in Hermitage, be sure and check out this week's First Takedown podcast. You can find it at First Takedown on Twitter, and it's wherever fine podcasts are sold.
Yeah, and he also goes into a little bit of history of how the current classification set up, why wrestling, and it's because for the longest time it was just with the other sports, but they're starting to take each individual sport and looking at that exclusively and try to classify those as best as possible. So they've got pretty much an even split now between the large and the small. The way it stands right now.
Yeah, and one of the big tweaks for this year is the 8-team state dual field, because for Class AA for the larger schools, because they have brought 16 to state up until last year, which at the time that was more of a pandemic related tweak, but now they just feel like they're I guess everybody's best interests are served by making that an 8-team tournament. And same thing with the 16-person individual state brackets. So a little tweaking going on, and not everybody likes it, but it's progress.
Yeah, and I know you're real excited about the championships getting back into one location, and at the Ag Center,
I'm excited about them getting back to the Ag Center because it's
in your backyard.
It makes it a little easier for me to go. Yeah.
All right. If you want to keep up with what's happening in high school wrestling, nobody does it better than what Mo's doing right now with the podcast. First Takedown, as he mentioned, everywhere podcasts are available. Go check it out every Friday throughout the season. So today was the 6th episode, Mo. Hard to believe.
It is.
6-pack down.
There we go.
Yeah, like it. All right. Stay tuned. Halftime coming up. And then second half, we'll talk with Andrew the Earl more. Some NFL conversation, also Max Herz, little Nashville Predators conversation as well. It's all straight ahead. This is Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Back to the Lee Company studio after this.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
All right, it's halftime here on Main Street Sports Today. JP and the Hall of Famer Mo with you today. Chris will be back hopefully on Monday. He's feeling fine. His voice is the big kicker today, and kind of hard to do an audio show when you got to talk
without a voice.
So
yeah.
So I hope he's resting that thing up, and we'll get back better on Monday. So, all right, Mo, what's in store for us? What's our halftime show?
Well, we have reached halftime,
Yep.
and I just wanted to ask you, because
Okay.
as you've been listening to and producing these First Takedown
Yep.
podcasts, I know that wrestling isn't really in your wheelhouse.
That's correct.
Per
That is a
se.
fair assessment.
Yeah. I know
Fair
Lawrence County brought wrestling on board probably after you
Long after.
graduated.
Long after. Yep.
I wanted to ask you, what's a sport that you maybe aren't as familiar with, that you've not really had a lot of exposure to, that you think you might enjoy if you did?
I do think wrestling. I do want to do that, but something else came into mind when I first looked at what we're doing here at halftime. The Winter Olympics are coming up. I love curling. I love curling.
Yeah.
It's shuffleboard, like on the table with the sand and the little circle mallets, I guess.
And-
Kind of a form of that, where you try to slide and block and get in circles.
But you don't have the brooms.
No,
in
we
that.
don't have the brooms. That would. I would love both of those. I would like to toss the stone.
Mhm.
I think it's tossing. I know
I
it's
think
called
so.
the stone.
Yeah.
But sweeping would be fun too.
I was having that conversation with somebody a few months ago. Apparently, out at the Ford Center,
Yeah.
they have,
They have curling.
and they have sessions. You can go up there and like rent a lane or something like that.
Okay.
Of course, I'm not real in favor of getting on the ice and
Get a side of
fall,
waiver.
falling. I'm sure you do. I didn't think about curling, but I think
Yep.
curling is
Curling
good.
would be fun.
I think lacrosse.
Yeah.
I'm not real familiar with lacrosse, but I think if somebody could teach me what was going on. I mean, balls and sticks. Yes,
Yeah.
please.
It's somewhat similar to hockey to some degree. To
Mhm.
some degree.
You're right.
I mean, the general concept is the same. Yeah, you got sticks, you got a ball, and you try to get it in the net.
Yeah.
So, lacrosse is big. I spent, as we wrap up halftime, I spent a year down in Atlanta in my early formative days covering high school sports, and lacrosse was really big. I
The
was in
next
Buckhead, so-
next lacrosse match I see will be my
your
first. Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. All right. Second half on the way. Andrew the Earl Moore will join us next. Max Herz as well. All that straight ahead. Main Street Sports Today. Back after this.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones and Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones and Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner. The look of a winner.
All right, welcome back in Main Street Sports today with the Hall of Famer Mo Patton. I'm JP Plant, filling in for Chris. He'll be hopefully back on Monday. Plenty to get to here in the second half. Max Herz will join us coming up in just a little bit, around 3 o'clock today, so stay tuned for that. We'll talk a little Nash Vegas Predators and more to come as well. Grab Bag segment 6. You just got one thing.
Yeah.
One big, one isolated bag today. So no variety pack today.
No variety pack.
Variety
No.
pack. All right. I like it. All right. In the meantime, though, it's the NFL Conference Championships coming up on Sunday. And despite our dismay of our team not being a part of it, we still want to discuss about it because it's the NFL and because we like football and we'll be watching. And the guy that watches with us and kind of gives us his perspective, Andrew the Earl Moore, joining us now live on the phone. Andrew, welcome back into the program. Happy Friday.
Hey, gentlemen, how are y'all doing?
Gentlemen.
Where? Who?
Wow.
We're good, man. We're good for a Friday.
Good to hear.
when we're considering a football weekend that doesn't include our team, we're trying to be good.
Not as fun, is it?
Yeah. So with that, how does that impact your rooting interests this weekend?
I mean, if I'm going to be honest, I don't care. It's just whoever wins kind of just wins, and I'm going to watch it for some entertainment. But I mean, if I had to choose right now, I'm kind of looking for whatever reason, a San Fran versus Cincinnati Super Bowl. I know that's random and weird, and I don't know if I can really explain that. But that's kind of what I'm just kind of hoping for now that my team's not in it.
It's kind of old school, actually.
It is. That's a little bit before my time. I'm old, but I'm not that old. So it'd just be kind of cool to see another one of those Super Bowl matchups that you watch NFL Network and you see the replays and you see the documentaries. So it'd be kind of cool to see those two teams go up against each other one more time.
They played in Super Bowl 23. Was held on January 22nd, 1989. So I can imagine that was before your time.
Just a little bit.
Slightly. Yeah. Also, they played
1981.
Right?
The
Yeah, well, the
season?
81 season, 1982 Super Bowl. It was Super Bowl 16.
It was a massive snowstorm in Minneapolis where they held that. Of course, the dome.
Detroit.
Was it Detroit? Okay. I knew it was somewhere up there. One of those domes.
Somewhere up north.
Somewhere up north where there was a ton of snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Joe Montana won both of those
He did.
in dramatic fashion. Andrew, you know of Joe Montana, right?
I know of Joe Montana, absolutely. I'll just say this. Now, I have one team. I'll always have one team as long as I hear, and that's the Titans. But before the Titans were a thing, both of my parents were San Francisco fans. So you kind of rummage through the closet deep down, you'll still find some, some Steve Young jerseys and some blankets and some old coats and T-shirts. So, like the Titans are my team, but I guess that might explain my pick. I have a little bit of a soft spot for the 49ers.
Okay.
Well, I think they've got some work ahead of them to get past the Rams. And I think Cincinnati has some work ahead of them to get past Kansas City as well. I think those would probably be my picks.
The home teams?
Yeah.
Because I mean, being at home at this point, I would imagine helps tremendously.
I think being at home, I also think that as we saw last weekend, quarterback play is paramount at this time of year.
Yeah.
And I just think that Patrick Mahomes and Matthew Stafford are better equipped to step up on the big stage than more so than Jimmy Garoppolo. I think Joe Burrow can hold his own. I think you can count on a couple of misfires at some point from Jimmy G that will ultimately make the difference in that ball game.
And of course, the smart money is always bet your money on Patrick Mahomes. I mean, was this the third year in a row he's been here and done that type of situation?
Fourth now in the championship.
Fourth,
AFC, yeah.
Good. See, I can't even count. And then, I mean, Matthew Stafford's definitely talented enough to get it done. This is brand new to him. This is year 12, 13, 14 for him, and this is his very first time he's been in this situation, which I'm sure I would like to imagine that it would play a part in maybe the outcome of the game. I think the Rams and 49ers game is really intriguing just because they play in the same division. San Francisco's already beaten them twice, if I remember correctly.
And twice last year, too. They won like 4 or 5 in a row against the Rams.
And they just played less. Well, I guess right at a month ago, that very last game of the year, which was super exciting. And of course, if we all watched it on TV, we realize and know how many San Francisco 49ers fans showed up to that game in LA. So that could also be something to look forward to kind of help the match up a little bit for an away team like San Francisco. Because I mean, I don't think San Francisco and LA, they're not right next to each other, but I think it's within an 8-hour drive of each other. So that's an easy trip, I would imagine, for a lot of 49ers fans to make, to be once again in the conference championship.
Yeah, I think the Rams even tried to take some measures to kind of limit 49er fan access to SoFi.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what they did, but something that the Titans I think have done, the Predators, I'm sure most franchises have done, but it could be something with the geo tracking of where you're buying your tickets from. I think they've just canceled out Andrew, anybody from the Bay Area that may want to get in. And it's interesting. You mentioned about Stafford. I was leery about Stafford because he hadn't been in this situation when the playoffs started. And he has proven
not through any fault of his.
True.
Though.
He has proven himself. I think he's proven himself thus far, and he's got the best receiver in the league in Cooper Kupp. And it feels like it's time. Although I like the 49ers, and I really like Deebo Samuel.
There's nothing to not like about Deebo Samuels. And obviously, Juwan Jennings, having played his college ball at UT and his high school ball at Blackman, is a guy that I'm sure a lot of locals are keeping an eye on as well. But Jimmy, look no further than the fact that the 49ers took a quarterback in the first round of last year's draft. They don't believe in their guy. Why are we supposed to?
That's right. Well, he's
absolutely.
Go ahead, Andrew.
I don't think really anybody really believes in Jimmy G, but there's one thing that we can't really take away from him, and this is the second time in just the last 3 years that he's been in this position. So he's not going to wow you, he's not going to amaze you, he's not going to be someone that we really remember in the next 10 years, but he's doing something right because once again he has his team just 4 quarters away from another Super Bowl. So we got to give him a little credit where it's due, I think.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Andrew, we got about a minute left. You said who kind of you think you'd like to see, just for a historical reference, the Niners and the Bengals, but who do you think will actually win these 2 games on Sunday?
I'll just, with my emotions out of the way, I think Kansas City is going to win just because they've, like I said, been there, done that so many times in a row. And you can't really argue against the Rams right now either because they arguably have one of the best offenses when they're clicking in the league. So we might see a high-powered offense versus a high-powered offense. Kansas City and the Rams is who I think is going to go. Who I hope is going to go is the Bengals and the 49ers.
All right. Mo likes the home teams.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Chiefs. I think, 13 seconds, Mahomes. I mean, that's all I need to say. I think it is time. I think it is time for the Rams to get over that 49er hump. But because the Niners have beaten them so many times for us, so I guess I got to go with the two home teams as well.
All right.
I'm going to go. So, Andrew, hey, we appreciate it. Enjoy the weekend and keep things straight down there on the square. Okay.
Oh, I'll do my best. Appreciate you guys.
All right, buddy. Andrew, the Earl Moore. I want to, every time I say the Earl, I think the Pearl Monroe. and it almost comes out. Andrew, the Pearl Monroe, but it's Andrew, the Earl Moore. So,
there we go.
Former intern and NFL aficionado, football aficionado, and a beer aficionado too.
No doubt.
Yeah. The golden concoction of a local establishment. Our friends down at Asgard. So, all right. Hey, we're going to talk with Max Herz. No T. Max Herz coming up. Nashville area broadcaster. We saw him down in Chattanooga with the Blue Cross Bowl.
Yeah.
Did some call for that. So we'll talk Preds and other stuff. We'll see what else Max wants to get into. Stay with us here. This is Main Street Sports Today. It is presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Back to the Lee Company studio after this.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. It is JP and the Hall of Famer Mo Patton. JP here filling in for Chris. I'll be back on Monday. The Sundrop kid from Alabama, so fret not. He's getting a caffeine IV at the moment. The Golden Cola. Oh, man. All right. Been a good show today. If you missed any part of the show, by the way, you can always go back and find the podcast. Main Street Sports Today, the first half, which included Charles Pulliam from the Williamson Herald. Also the second half, which just talked with Andrew the Earl Moore, not the Pearl Monroe, but Andrew the Earl Moore. And our next guest, who is a Nashville area broadcaster, does all kinds of stuff. We're happy to have with us on the show Max Herz, who is with us here on Main Street. Max, welcome in the show. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, guys? I owe a long overdue thank you to Mo for getting me on. I was going to be on with him and Chris in Chattanooga, and I was really only there for the morning game, so we never made it happen, but happy to be with you guys.
Well, happy to have you, Max. And had some career developments, I guess, since Chattanooga. Got to you got a battlefield promotion there, I guess. Did a little play-by-play for the Preds in the absence of Pete Weber. How many games did you wind up doing?
I did 2.
2. And what was your record?
1-1, which I'll happily take.
There you go. Preds dropping a 3-2 shootout loss to Edmonton last night on the road, and they've got a little break here. 4 off days before they resume play on Tuesday back at Bridgestone Arena against Vancouver. That's a little different.
Yeah, so the Preds have been really one of the least affected teams schedule-wise by COVID cancellations, and this break isn't because of that. But the weekend off was already part of the schedule. But Tuesday was supposed to be their last game before the Olympic break, and there's no more Olympic break. NHL players aren't going to the Olympics, and instead, teams are going to play a lot of makeup games so that we can get the season done by the original end date of the end of April and start the playoffs the first week of May. So the Preds had a few games canceled. Mostly it was because of other teams not being able to play. So they have one of the lighter loads over the month of February. They don't have any back-to-backs in that stretch. They have a couple of weeks with only 2 games. And that'll help them because a lot of their makeup games are against really good teams. It's a lot of the teams that they were actually in the modified division with last year. The Hurricanes, the Panthers, the Lightning, the Stars, and the Caps are in there too. These are really good teams they're going to play. And they don't have a lot of back-to-backs in there. They don't have a ton of ground schedule-wise to make up, which is good because they're towards the top of the division right now in a pretty secure playoff position. But the most important thing is the no back-to-backs, meaning presumably for the next month, all the way through the outdoor game on that final Saturday of February, UC Saros is going to be able to play every single game, which is really, really big for them because he's been playing a ton. Some people are arguing he's overused. I disagree with that because the schedule has allowed him to play almost every game. When he's so good, and I mean, the backups have been fine. Ingram was good in a couple of starts earlier in the season. David Riddick is the real backup. He was out for those games, but you want Saros to play every game you can get, and with how long this regular season is now because of the changes with the cancellation and an extra couple weeks here and there, just keep playing Saros and give him off in the back end of a back-to-back all the way down the stretch, and I wouldn't really worry about overuse. I think the schedule sets them up okay to just keep on riding it.
Speaking with Max Herz, Nashville Predators insight we're gaining from him. And, you know, Max, January has been a pretty streaky month for the Preds, it looks like. When you just look at the schedule for the month, they won, 5 in a row. They lost 4 in a row. They won 3 straight before last night's loss. And you'll certainly take the winning streaks, but you want to kind of minimize those back-to-back defeats, I guess. What are you seeing out of this bunch here as the season continues?
Yeah, I don't think the losing streak was a huge deal outside of the first game of that streak, which was actually the second game I announced against the Sabres, which was a bad loss at home to a bad team starting their 5th-string goalie. And the Preds beat themselves in that game. I'm sure they would tell you that. They scored what was basically an own goal. Matt Benning was trying to clear the puck to the corner. UC Saros was a little bit out of the crease, and the puck just hit Saros' leg pad and bounced into the goal. That was the first goal of the game. Then the third goal they gave up in the game to go down 3-1, Roman Josi had just come on the ice. Phil Myers, who was filling in on the bottom pair, was trying to get off to complete the change. So Josi's partner, who was Carrier that night, to get on, and they ran into each other in the neutral zone, and Jeff Skinner got a breakaway, and he's not going to miss that. So that made it 3-1, and they gave up an empty netter. So that was a game where there were a lot of swing plays, and it didn't really go their way. The back end of that losing streak was a back-to-back, The first game in St. Louis, Saros played, but they were really thin on D. Ben Harper, who's now their 9th string defenseman, had to play, and he had a turnover that led to a goal. So, I mean, that loss, you get what you get with that lineup. And then the next day, Riddick started, and they did not win. So when they've been at full strength and had Saros in there, they've had good results most of this month. And I think that's what's most important, because if they don't have 6 capable D-men in the lineup every night, and I think they've found a new number 6 in Matt Tennyson, who's played the last 4 games and been pretty solid back there. When they have a D4 they like and have Saros in goal, they've been, for the most part, winning every game they should.
Max Herz, our guest here on Main Street Sports today. Max, I'm curious, no stranger, obviously, to doing play-by-play, but the opportunity to get into the NHL booth, hockey has to be one of the more difficult sports to call, not only because of the speed of the game, but the names as well. I'm curious what your preparation, once you got the nod for that, what was that like leading up to those 2 games?
Yeah, it was the dream come true, first of all, to get to do it. And I'm very fortunate that a couple of folks at 102.5 The Game, Chase McCabe and Willie Donick, really recommended me highly to the team and really pushed for me to get a chance to do it. And that a couple of folks with the team, Bill Wickett, who is the relatively new chief marketing officer of the team, as well as a lot of the broadcast and media staff, Bob Cole, Kevin Wilson, Nick Barnowski, a whole crew that I do know better from my time here in Nashville, that they were both sides of it, but really especially the team were trusting of me. The people at 102.5 The Game know what I'm capable of and knew that I would do a good job with it. But for the Preds to trust someone in their 20s whose highest level of hockey game calling experience was Vanderbilt club hockey before this, just because there's not a lot of hockey that gets broadcast in Nashville. I mean, other than the big show, there ain't much. So for them to trust me was a really big deal. But to answer your question, JP, about my preparation, I tried to keep it as simple as possible, knowing the sport, like you said, and also knowing that it was radio and not TV. I didn't want to give anything that I didn't need to give. I just wanted to know names and numbers. Obviously, the most important thing, memorize as many jersey numbers and line combinations as I could. And that ended up being good. I mean, I obviously had a chart in front of me that I'd made with everybody's name and number on it in line order. But as the games went on, I really did not do much looking down, even for the opposing teams, which I was very pleased with how little I had to look down. But I didn't really try to give anything other than who has the puck, where's the puck, what team has the puck, and what zone are they in. And then anything else I could give beyond that is great extra detail. But I just tried to follow the action. I didn't want to go too fast, which I was worried about. And I think I did a good job with my pacing and speed. So I was really happy with it. And Hal Gale, who I was with, I watched him play in the NHL. I was in the building when he won his only Stanley Cup in 2009 for the Penguins in Detroit. I've gotten to hear him on Preds for, I think, the last 5 years. He's been the radio color guy, and he's unbelievably good at it. We are extremely lucky to have him. And he should be doing national games. He could be doing national games if he wanted to. I think he may have been asked to do it before, but he likes doing the Preds games, and he is unbelievably good at it. So I knew his strengths as someone who has worked on the broadcast a lot and edited highlights a lot. So I just let him carry a lot of the analysis, and I knew that if I missed something or if I just wanted to get past something, because a couple of things happened really quickly, he would be there to recap it and also obviously fulfill his duty of being a color commentator and give the why of how it happened, which is his role. He's so great at it, but I just answered your question in like 5 different ways, but that was how I went into it.
No, I could tell. Like I said, I'm curious. Did they set you up with a red line phone from Pete Weber in case he needed to contact you in the middle of the game?
Because I wish I had a red line from Pete Weber implanted in my brain.
No kidding.
First of all, at all. I love that man. He was unbelievably supportive. I've learned a lot from him, just from listening and of course talking to him as well. But he's so good. And I think the biggest thing I've taken from hearing him call games for a while is it's okay to be funny. It's okay to entertain yourself. And Preds fans who watched him on TV with Crispy since the beginning and now listen to him on the radio with Hal know that there is probably always going to be something funny, or a reference to the slap shot, or the 80s Buffalo Sabres, or the 80s Buffalo Bisons, or the 70s LA Kings. Whatever it is, Pete's got it. And even if it's just to make himself laugh or to make his partner laugh, it's perfect. It's so perfect. So that's probably the biggest thing I've learned from Pete, because I didn't used to be comfortable telling jokes on air, because I feel like a lot of times broadcasters will tell jokes and you'll be like, oh God, what a terrible joke. Like Tony Romo talking about his golf swing or whatever. Like, I don't give a crap about that. But when timed well, and especially on a local broadcast where the fan base can kind of be in on your jokes and you have a little bit of a shared history with them, I think that has a place. But every game I edit highlights for, which is my usual job on the radio network, I'm probably in there for about a third of the game, which I've been doing for 4 years, and I love doing, because you get to hear every moment of every game. I always pull funny stuff out of it, so and send it to Pete, and we get a pretty good blooper reel by the end of the year. That's for sure.
Well, it sounds like, Max, you've got a fix on what the broadcast entails, at the local level and that kind of thing, and where to inject your personality and that kind of thing. And I think that's the key, because a lot of folks, like you said, try to be funny at times when it's not, so that their self-awareness is always a good thing.
Yeah, I would 10,000% agree with that. And I think that's something I've gotten better at too every time I broadcast the game. I mean, I'm 27 years old. I've been doing play-by-play since the end of my freshman year of college, and I always feel like I'm getting better at it and fine-tuning little pieces of it as well. So it's always a gradual process. I think everyone in the world who does play-by-play is hopefully getting better every time, even Joe Buck, Jim Nantz, Dan Schulman, whoever you want to name, who are the biggest national voices, or your favorite broadcaster, or whoever it is. If you're not getting better, you're not paying attention, and you're not evaluating yourself properly. So that's something I always try to do. I always try to elicit feedback from as many people as I can. I always want feedback from literally anybody, and this isn't just people in broadcasting. Like, I like when fans, whether it's people I've met or not, fans of whatever team I'm broadcasting will give me feedback, even if it's negative. I want all the feedback I can get, because everybody listens differently. It's all subjective. So every single piece of feedback I get, I try to use. Like one time, one of my favorite pieces of feedback I ever got was from an usher at the Vanderbilt baseball game when I was the side reporter for SEC Network Plus, which I did for 6 years. And I loved being in the dugout with the team. The usher said, like, I didn't know we had a sideline reporter for baseball, and they had seen me do it, and they're like, you do a good job. And they didn't say this because I had done it. It was because I was new to sideline reporting. They said, like, the one thing I hate that sideline reporters always do is start sentences with I. When they say, like, I spoke to Tim Corbin this week, and he told me that Christian Little, blah, 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 blah. It should always be done in the third person. I don't know if it's first person or third person, whichever way it goes, but it's not an I sentence. Regardless of who he said it to, it would be Tim Corbin said this week that Christian Little needs to throw his fastball more in backward counts or things like that. And that's I really like that piece of advice, and it came from an usher at the baseball stadium. So it's a constant feedback loop. It helps you have thick skin, I'm sure, too, as you guys would know, especially Mo in the written world. I'm sure you get some funky emails from high school fans and such.
Nah,
yeah, no, they don't have passion about that. Well, Max, this has been enlightening, and congratulations, by the way, to all your early success and what little I've talked to you. You're going to have a long career in this because you get it. And we look forward to talking to you more. How can people follow you, by the way, with your regular work and other things that you may be doing?
My Twitter is @MaxHerzTalks, TALKS. My DMs are open there. My email is not very hard to find, but I'll let people sleuth for it out there if they want an easy find. And I'm actually at the first Vanderbilt baseball practice of the year right now, watching them take BP. So
there you go.
You'll hopefully see and hear me a little bit there this year as well.
All right. Anchor down. All right, Max, we appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
All right. Good stuff right there. More to come here on Main Street Sports Today. We'll be back.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Back in Main Street Sports Today. Over here multitasking, so we're still good, though. We're still good. JP Plant filling in for Chris Yao, the Sundrop kid from Alabama. He'll be back on Monday, resting that voice up. Over there, the Hall of Famer and Sports Writer of the Year. Heading over to my old stomping grounds, coming up in June for the big festivities to be honored for that night.
Should be fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that for you, and that's exciting.
We might just have to make that a field trip.
We might. You know, you go through Asheville on the way over,
and on the way back,
and on the way back. That's right.
Yeah,
a twofer. Max Herz, who just joined us, got to call a couple of Preds games, filled in for Pete Weber. Works on the broadcast as well, and does some other stuff. 27 years old.
Isn't that disgusting?
It it really is for someone who who went to school and kind of wanted to be a play-by-play guy. I've dabbled a little bit, not to his level, but yeah, it is a little disgusting. Mm-hmm. 27, he's getting these opportunities, but he's earned it. You could tell by talking to him,
right?
That he knows what he's doing and he's well prepared.
And that's the thing, got a lot of stories about folks that haven't earned it, but it's cool to see someone at that age who has put in the work, and is seeing the fruits of his labor, and has the humility about it, because not everybody
that's
does.
True, and that's why he's going to go a long way.
Mm-hmm.
He's already gotten pretty far, but he's going to have a long career in this industry because he gets it. He's as you mentioned, not afraid to be humble. As we look out the window, how about that? Some snow flurries.
Not loving that,
man. There you go. Wasn't expecting that, but be safe out there.
Yeah.
So anyway, but that was fast. If you missed part of that interview, of course, you can always get the podcast or special guest podcast. Just follow Main Street Sports special guest, and you'll get to hear all of our guests every day. So everywhere podcasts are available, including the first half of the show, second half of the show, or you can listen to just the guests as well. We're equal opportunist when it comes to listening availability.
Well, we want to make it as easy as possible on our listeners. I mean,
that is correct.
Because speaking of humility, we're not so egotistical as to think that everybody wants to listen to 2 hours of us every day, but we do sometimes tend to have some pretty good guests.
Yes, yes, we do.
I.e. Michelle Vopel last night,
mm-hmm.
even though she missed on that UT Auburn game.
What was I didn't catch the score then. What was
71-61 Auburn was the final. Yeah. So, yeah.
It is old school women's basketball with Tennessee back up where they are. Auburn has the tradition.
Mm-hmm. Ole Miss is back in the top 25.
Next, you're going to have Georgia, Virginia, Stanford's there.
Mm-hmm. So it's starting to get back.
Move over, UConn.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. So, final segment, wanted to mention NBA All-Star Game starters have been announced. And among those starters, you remember that guy about 5 weeks or so ago that was coming back from an injury for the Grizzlies?
Mm-hmm.
That Grizzly fans were saying
they were better off
without him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the starting lineup for the West.
Hello.
In the All-Star Game.
Obviously, other teams like his value.
John Morant averaging 25.8 points a game, 6.9 assists per game, and 5.9 rebounds a game, making his first All-Star appearance.
Well deserved too. And that's the starters. They're still voted, right? They voted.
Yeah.
Top 5 vote getters.
Let me just say, there's probably 31 other teams out there that would love to have John Morant.
Yeah.
So.
And I think the organization, I think they appreciate him for whatever reason. The fans just, I don't know what came of them for that
stupidity.
Yeah, I don't know.
Other West starters, in addition to West captain LeBron James, are Steph Curry, Nikola Jokic, and Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins also making his first All-Star Game appearance. On the East side, Kevin Durant is the captain. Giannis Antetokounmpo, from
Milwaukee.
the champion
World champion
Milwaukee Bucks, making his 6th appearance. DeMar DeRozan, 5-time All-Star. Joel Embiid, and from the Atlanta Hawks, Trae Young. Ice Trae. Yes, sir. Yeah. So those are your 5 starters for the East-West All-Star Game. Whenever that is, I have to say, I'm not a huge regular season NBA fan, but I do like watching Trae Young and John Morant.
There's some really good young talent in the NBA right now that, in the NFL, the quarterbacks, Ben Roethlisberger retired recently, Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning, of course, the 3 of those in the same class that came out. Peyton Manning's gone. Tom Brady may be out. Aaron Rodgers 1 or 2 years. There's some really good young quarterbacks. The league is going to be fine. Same with the NBA with some of the talent. I mean, you've got LeBron that's aging, 37, still playing though, about as good as he could play, which is remarkable. But yeah, there's some really good young talent.
This should be fun. The All-Star Draft is set for February 10th after they announce the reserves on February 3rd, which is what? Wednesday?
It could be. Yeah. Coming up.
And then the All-Star Weekend is February 18th through 20th. So
where's this year's? Are they in Vegas?
That I couldn't tell you.
I don't remember where they're going this year.
Where is it? No, it's in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Right there by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yep. Darius Garland might have something to say about being a reserve on the All-Star team.
Well, he had a lot of support for a starting spot. So apparently the voters didn't agree, but yeah, it looks like the what is it? NBA Tonight? Is that Ernie Johnson in that bunch?
Inside the NBA?
It's that bunch is pushing Garland for a reserve, which would be spectacular.
Yeah, and hopefully he'll get in there and being able to play in front of his front of the home fans, well deserved. Which is great for him, the young man, but it hurts even more to see how good he is. We knew how good he was going to be, and how short of time he had at Vanderbilt as a Vandy fan.
6 games,
yeah, something like that. And that was, I don't know what would have happened that year, but once he got hurt, that train came off the rails at Vanderbilt, and Stack is still trying to get them back on. Some 4 years later, however long it is.
Yeah,
man.
Drew 2 with Bryce Drew, and this is Stack's.
But it's they were playing well. I think they'd gone out to USC and beaten a top 5 team with Garland earlier in the year, or came close, and who knows what would happen. So, but here we are.
Indeed. Snow notwithstanding, what are your plans this weekend?
This weekend, a little NFL, obviously watching on Sunday, but Saturday doing a little house cleanup, I think. So
Gotcha.
Not a whole lot. Got a birthday dinner coming up this weekend, but
yours or someone else's?
Mine.
Okay.
Yeah, like how that was subtly threw that in there.
Well,
you asked.
Hopefully someone has some big plans for your birthday, huh?
Yeah, we're gonna hit.
You planting the seed, or have the plans already been made?
Plans have already been set in motion. So I've just got to determine where I want to go eat.
That's always a big deal.
Yes, it's a hard decision though.
Brass Land.
No, we're gonna go head south of the border.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Or the line. We're not going to go that far.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I understand. Okay. All right. Well, have fun with that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But doing a little house cleaning this weekend and watch a little football. Sure, some college basketball at some point. So, trying to get into that because with the Titans not in play,
it's not much
football fandom, at least for here, is kind of done for the year. So. And we're about to hit that dead week too in the NFL.
Yeah,
with the Super Bowl. So
there might be a road trip that weekend. Me, you, and Sundrop Kid need to discuss.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Just have something to do with the trophy, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
A trophy.
A trophy.
A trophy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Need to figure that out.
All right. Always up for a road trip.
All right.
Always up for a road trip.
Well, folks, I think that does us for the week.
Yeah.
I'll let you take us.
You survived?
All right. You got the clock over there. What's going on?
Yeah, we appreciate our guests today. Of course, Charles Pulliam with the Williamson Herald, Max Herz, Nashville area broadcaster, called a couple of Preds games, works on the broadcast, and our buddy Andrew, the Earl Moore, talking a little NFL. High school basketball tonight. Complete coverage as always. MainStreetMurray.com, MainStreetPreps.com. Follow Mo on Twitter. At Mo_sports.
Mo Patton.
Mo Patton _sports. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And he's going down to the bar tonight in Loretto.
Hopefully I'll have reception down there.
Yeah. So I know you're going to enjoy that. Some nice food on the way as well. So check it all out. MainStreetMurray.com, MainStreetPreps.com. Follow us on Twitter at MS_sports today.
There you go.
Thankfully, I'm reading it right here. I've got it. So that'll do it. Chris will be back hopefully on Monday. We'll get the Holy Trinity back together all in studio.
Not sure about that one, but okay. Yeah, Reaction Monday. I'm not sure what we'll be reacting to, but stay tuned.
We'll see. All right. For the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, I'm JP Plant saying have a great weekend. Stay safe out there. We'll talk to you Monday.